No, there's still some crazy music playing in the background. There it goes. Jesus.
Yeah, we're on like a 10-second delay. Okay, so there's like 10 seconds of us just sitting here staring at the wall.
Hi, everybody. Okay, I probably need to skedaddle and email like holy.
I'm so confused. What is happening?
We're live. We are broadcasting.
Rick's having a whole like internal conversation with himself,
Rick,
and it's
you started a sentence and then it
and then he ding dong ditch.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to How to Identify a Stroke.
Sentence. Yeah, you Rick. What are you doing? What is that?
His whole psyche is just like evaporated from his body, apparently.
You good, bud?
Rick, can you speak? Are you muted? Oh, you're muted.
All it's doing is looping for me endlessly.
Okay, well, Rick has gone off to purgatory. I think the rest of us are good.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
I mean, I'm not logged in wherever he's. Yeah.
Oh, right. He's probably on the dashboard or something.
Right. We're just in this. So confirming we're really good at this, everyone. We're live.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Rick,
you're muted again, brother.
You know what?
Little
so
chaos imps from the Fey realm have entered our techno boxes.
I left the alcohol downstairs.
Havoc.
I probably should update an email to like 12,000 people that it's this YouTube link and not another link.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead and blast that one out.
What?
We can vamp. We can vamp because we had to change the instance at the last second.
Oh, buddy. Hello, for those of you that are with us. Should we introduce ourselves?
Probably.
The song and dance squad as we stretch.
Oh, we've got a live chat going too. I can't wait.
Oh, I know. Wait, on this platform or just in the Discord as well?
That's such a good question. I was checking the Discord, but I should probably check the YouTube as well.
They're all laughing.
Yep.
Eric, not us. We're amazing.
Where's the heckle?
Okay. Why don't we start with some introductions for the three of us, the Vamp Squad. Since I'm already talking. Oh, I'm now getting raised by a visitor for my 3-year-old who won't go to sleep for his mom. But,
of course.
So, my name is Pat Edwards. I'm one of the co-founders of Storytellers Forge, along with Court and Rick, and I'm currently being accosted by a gorilla goblin. I call him. Court, go ahead.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm Courtney, as Pat said, one of the other co-founders.
He wants
I am
the Majin Mini.
Of course he does. Good choice. And I am the one known as the Eldritch Editor. I have fingers in all of the pies and try to make sure that everything is edited as well as possible.
I just got the chat up. Excellent. Lovely. Oh, is it me? I'm CD Corrigan. Hi. How we doing? I am one of the authors for the Chronicles of the Crossing. I wrote The Memory Thief. It's good times. I'm an author. I'm an artist. I'm a game designer. I did Relic RPG. You might see some stuff between Storytellers Forge and me, Hands-On Games. I'm coming from that side. So stay tuned. In the meantime, we have a stream going, and our intrepid leader has vanished to tell everyone there's a stream going.
Correcting which direction the finger points.
Yeah. Lovely. I guess I don't know what the format is here. I was just told to show up, so I'm here. Great.
It's what I imagine a town hall. We can drive in.
Okay.
And that's Rick. You know Rick. You know Rick.
right in time. There's like an email finally going out from the Backerkit page that will tell people, "Hey, we messed up. Who wants a free god tier?" Uh, okay.
I just
How
the first chat I saw was, "This is remarkably on brand."
Yeah. Um, so okay. I've had a lot of coffee today, and what happened earlier when you watched me melt down with a stroke in real time? I had the stream pulled up live, and I was wondering why I was hearing my own voice back at me because it was
Mm.
doing a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Rick Heinz, author, writer, one of the other people behind SD Forge that tried to actually put on this whole launch party thing. And the person you can't see that played the most horrifying music is Nick from Gehenna Gaming, who wrote Eldritch Automa, which makes sense on why he had the most horrifying music play right before this stream started. So, welcome everybody. In an attempt to keep my own sanity, I actually am not reading the live comments because if I do that, I'm going to hear my own freaking voice back at me and my headset's going to freak out and I am going to die. I've already walked on the walls once today. I don't need to do it again.
So we were just saying that we need to make some TikToks for this week, and I vote we take the clip of Rick just having a meltdown and
Yeah.
just put like old like modem noises behind it. We're just
I would love that. Yeah.
just saying. That's a pitch.
Do not let Mr. Biscuits know about this. It is over for me if he does.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way that's not
Like,
happening.
everyone, go inform biscuits.
Well, anyway, back to the reason we're all here. Yeah, we're nuts, and we decided to crowdfund a bunch of freaking novels tied to the Black Ballad because I really like the Legend of the Five Rings novels and Dragonlance novels and Vampire Clan novels. So we did it, and we've had 4 authors write crazy, epic, full-length fantasy novels, and we got some stretch goals. So thank you for coming to our launch party to check out the Black Ballad, the perfect campaign to run after your TPK party. You all probably know the spiel if you're tuning into this by now.
Speak of the devil. We all just got an alert that biscuits had dropped into the chat.
And he duck quacked me. All right. So, so that being said, we're trying to get up to actually crowdfund our project. It's our second time as a studio coming back. All of your guys' support actually means that we can keep doing this general thing. So thank you very much for those who've backed. But let's start this off with giving away a VTT code. And I'm going to do it in the very fun way. If anybody that is Courtney, John, or CD finds somebody in chat that has backed the project, um, copy their username and get their email address, and we'll send them a free Black Ballad copy on Hedron's virtual tabletop. We're going to be doing that like all stream for the entire time. And I have this much mead from person named Haley to go through, and the stream will probably last about that long. No, it'll last longer.
Good.
Oh dear.
Good. The fun part is, I don't think. Sorry, go ahead, Court.
Hedron is in the chat as well, so hello and thank you.
My God, we've enlisted geometry.
You know, polyhedron dice are a thing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, yes, I know how to find out who's backed the project on Backerkit, a thing that I totally know how to navigate to. Found it. Okay, good.
Let's hope the usernames are the same as the names on the crowdfunding site.
We kind of just go by the trust method, right? Somebody could just be like, hey, I backed the project, in which case, if they really want to get a free, it's like players cheating with dice at the table while you're storytelling. If you really need to fudge your dice so that you secretly get a 20, it's okay. We'll let you have the critical hit because you need it more than we do.
Like a lying liar.
So that being said, yes. Crowdfunding and storytelling and books. All right, look, I'm going to get right to the freaking questions so we have something to talk about. I could talk about crowdfunding and like all of the press and the crazy things behind the scenes and the like insane amount of emails and personal messages and DMs that you have to send out on crowdfunding, because apparently Facebook now likes to hide direct links intentionally unless you're giving them money, and X is just X. So, yeah. And so thus, let's talk about things that we have upcoming. Actually, I know what we're going to talk about. Two cool things. One, yes, our project is officially live today on Hedron for virtual tabletop. The Black Ballad crowdfunded 18 months ago. It just released. For the first time, we're finally on crowdfunding. The second is that in addition to novels in this crowdfunding campaign, our very special featured add-on is actually the much wished for and finally released Dia Morte Black Ballad full metal album, which will tell the story of Fate and Lacroix and Dorian and their brutal war with each other, tangential to the Black Ballad main storyline. And we will actually get Drake up in here as soon as I can poke John to go give Drake permissions down to this channel and show him where to go. But John is texting people, so.
I was interacting with chat on the wrong account, so bear with me.
You do realize that I also have the same amount of power.
Yes, that's because you're God at Storyteller's Forge.
Well, thank you.
Good cover. Good cover.
So
I'm just looking for like 3 biscuits and a trench coat in the chat now. Just like, which one?
I think I know which one it is because they literally went, damn it, wrong account, leaves. You laughed, I was correct.
Too funny. Lovely. All right, so we said it's the honor system. Hey, chat, who's backed the project already? There's a delay. This would be way more dramatic if you guys type faster.
yeah, and here's the funny part. At this point, you're going to come to the point where like everybody's like secretly checked out, and we're just going to stare before we've even gotten to like raffle off like the good stuff.
Okay, let's see, because there are a few people. So how do we want to do it? Roll a dice? I get to roll dice? What should I roll?
Well,
see,
Riley
1,
Early is already out because Riley won the fastest backer in the West Award earlier today. So
1, 2, 3, 4.
I have so
Well,
many.
Haley's removed themselves. All right. I count 3 that haven't already won something today.
Okay, let's have a look. We gonna get any more? 2, 3. We've got 3 at the moment. I mean, that's a D4. The smallest I've got is a D4.
Okay, go for it. Oh, I see.
Okay.
We just got a 4th.
We just got a 4th. That's a D4. I can roll the death die because of how spicy. So let's have a look. We'll do it in the order that they messaged. So 2, 3. Bloop. That's a 3.
Who was that? That was removed Riley. I think that was Brianna.
I think so.
Hugo, Lore, Brianna.
okay.
Brianna Peters. Congratulations.
So message us, any of us, or we'll message you, one of the two. Find a way. We'll give you codes and things.
If you're on our Discord, just send a message to me.
Now, there is a question that was asked that I definitely want to ask. And for those of you who aren't in our Discord or those who are, we asked our Discord some questions about things. And there's one question that I really, really like. And it was from Yamaneko. And it was, how do each of you see Majin as a character and their flaws? Now, one of our lovely writers on the project, The Black Ballad, Ray Jenkins, absolutely hates Majin and thinks that Majin needs to be fed into a grass chipper and just spat out the other end because he's a total shit stirrer who caused a lot of problems. I have a very different view. I love Majin. Majin is the patron of dreams and my favorite character that is arguably, I see him as a very, very flawed anti-villain. Trying to do right by the cosmos, but not necessarily going about it in the right ways. Oddly, I'm super surprised that in every one of the games for the Black Ballad that we have run and play tested, all of my players universally end up signing with Majin. I haven't run into groups that don't yet. But I am waiting for the day. I want to run this game for Ray and Jeff, who are two of our other co-writers, because I know that they are just going to try to murder them at every single point. Now, Courtney, what do you think about Majin?
That's a toughie, because I know as one of the people who, was the only person who edited the Red Opera and one of the editors on the Black Ballad, I feel like I have a very unfair insight because there's like a level of understanding that I need to set myself to from how many times I have read about them. Because overall, I've read about like Majin's interactions over
And over and over and
too
over
many
again.
times. And like also, I don't want to say anything that might be spoilery for people who haven't yet played Red Opera or Black Ballad.
Okay.
They are very, very interesting in how they can interact with the world. And like their views with how everything works and like the limitations that they set on themselves, either because of what they are or believe, so on and so forth. And their flaws sort of go hand in hand with that.
And for those who don't know, when you
But I
listen to the
can't say.
trailer, when you listen to the trailer and a lot of our YouTube content that we posted on our channel, the voice you hear is usually the voice of Majin. And in Chronicles of the Crossing, the trailer that you hear, that David Granjo, our like wonderful artist who also worked on the Red Opera, came with us over to Storytellers Forge and like has been integral to helping us get everything set up. That trailer, that voice that you hear is Majin. And there's somebody else. There's two people that I want to hear about their voice on what they think of Majin. And one of them is John, who has secretly run more of the Red Opera than even us as the creators at this point. Even though I'm running Forsaken Packs and doing things, but John has outstripped us as the storyteller with the most hours clocked rolling dice in the Shadelands. And we also have Drake Mephista, the mind behind Dia Morte, also that popped on the stream, even if he's off camera. And I'll want to pick his brain on what he views as the character that in the original album never had a name until I gave Majin a name. So, John, go first.
Okay. Well, I treated Majin like a nonchalant, sassy house cat.
You know, that's pretty accurate, I feel.
I mean, their whole thing is just like kind of poking at things and seeing how mortals react, right? So it's like, hey, I've got this idea. I'm gonna go ahead and pick, X number of people at random, whether they realize it or not, and that ends up being the party. And well, there you go. I put forth in front of you these various tasks that you don't realize how important they are until the very end, in which case, I mean, you're going to make a deal with me whether you want to or not. It's just a matter of whether or not you like it. But I mean, I've started running Majin in the Black Ballad as well, and now that I have the full scope of what Majin is, it's really fun because the people that are in my Black Ballad campaign, for the most part, outside of a clever reveal we had during our last session, they've all already made a deal with Majin, and that has yet to come to fruition. So that's fun. But yeah, sassy house cat who likes pomegranates, but not sure how to eat them. I wonder why that is.
That's canonically hilarious. One of the reasons why is Rick, as the writer, has no idea how to eat a freaking pomegranate. So I wrote in the first iteration of the Red Opera that Majin would just bite into pomegranates like an apple, not realizing that that's not how you eat a pomegranate, because I didn't know, because I've never had a pomegranate
Yeah,
in my
Rick,
life.
you got to use a corkscrew. You know that thing on like the waiter's bottle opener? It's got the two sides. That's for pomegranate seeds. So you just got to really get.
Chris.
What?
No.
What?
No.
So nobody caught it in editorial. It went right through.
No, I caught it. I thought it was intentional, so I kept it. Because I, as someone who has consumed many a pomegranate, know how to eat them. I was like, yeah, that seems like a Merchant thing to do.
So it stuck. That's why Majin eats pomegranates and food mostly wrong. All right, Drake.
So, chat, if we hit 12,000 in the next 5 minutes, I will make sure that there is a pomegranate themed monster in whatever the next release is that comes out. I don't know if I have the authority to do that, but it seems like a good win.
You do now because you're spoken to the cosmos.
I found most of my jobs I get by just like starting a task and then no one stops me.
So, Drake, go ahead and introduce yourself, and what are your views on Majin? Drake's gone. He's supposed to be.
Great. Greg's here. Just we're having a side conversation. That's my fault. Sorry. I've broken everything.
Hands off the keyboard.
Drake Mephisto, I did the composition.
He appeared for a second.
And then he was gone. So okay.
Yeah,
Drake.
it seems like I think there's like a little bit of a delay, unfortunately, on mine.
That's all right, Drake. I'm gonna keep bouncing because for some reason your stream is bouncing like with like 10-15 second delays, so it's absolutely impossible to talk to you.
It could be fun to try and phrase like disembodied one-liners that just come in and are like timeless.
It's all right. Let's see here.
Peck Yek had a question about the Backerkit campaign way up at the top. He said, or they said, so is this Kickstarter just the novel plus album additions to the existing Black Ballad? And I figured that might be worth answering early in the stream for folks who maybe don't know the whole catalog that's going up.
This crowdfunding campaign is exactly that. There are 4 novels, each of them written by a different author, each of them focused on a different genre or setting, that each tell a different story within the Black Ballad campaign universe, sort of set before the events of the main campaign. However, you can also get the Black Ballad campaign in case you missed it during our last crowdfunding option. When you buy it through crowdfunding, you actually get additional perks that are usually the stretch goal content and whatnot. Outside of the crowdfunding windows, those usually end up becoming their own separate things or just aren't available ever again. And then when you get the Black Ballad campaign book, or when you get the Black Ballad campaign book, it also comes with the orchestral version of the Black Ballad soundtrack by Dia Morte. But the metal album is also being released in this crowdfunding campaign, and that is the full like Sony Darkstar Records deleted one. So
4 books, 2 albums, or 2 versions of an album, plus a bunch of like gaming journals and other stuff, right? Like there's all sorts of little perks like buried within these tiers here that you can find.
Actually, I should probably have Courtney or Bunny at some point talk about their adventure journal and talk about and give a pitch about what their adventure journal is and the lore behind Ashland before it becomes a player character journal. And you should probably also talk about your book since you're the one author who's here.
Why did that happen to me? I don't like.
Because you brought it up.
Oh, that's fair. But Court, I'm so interested to hear about this adventure journal.
Yeah, here I'll help you out. Here's what the Black
Keto.
Ballad. I'll help you out with. I'll do the first pitch. The Black Ballad campaign book. It's the perfect campaign for the party that never listens. So when you kill your party, you actually get to have them answer the question of should death have consequence, and what is the impact of resurrection in any fantasy setting. And
I do want to
that is
chime in. Sorry, I do want to respond to something that came up in the chat right now because some people are getting a little bit confused. If
Sure.
you already have the Black Ballad, you can back this campaign and not repurchase the same thing. This campaign, there are tiers that are just for the books, like the novels that are coming out.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy the game book itself if you've already backed it, if you've already got it. That is just an option that is available for people like me who missed the initial crowdfunding and wanted to add it on to their pledge this time around.
Yeah, and if you back the crowdfund, if you back just the novels, and we unlock TTRPG stretch goal content, you also get all of the tabletop RPG stretch goal content that is brand new, and we're going to create that just for the crowdfunding campaign. So
Yes. Sorry, I just thought that was important to like clarify up top for like people who are trying to figure out if they want to jump in and what tier and whatnot. So yes, there are many tiers and different add-ons you can get in here. You do not need to repurchase existing stuff. This is an expansion of things into that universe is the whole gist.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly why we actually have some tiers that are just novels, and all of them can be mixed and matched on add-ons later on. So after you do your initial pledge, you can be like, I want this book, this journal, and this metal album. Like we kind
Speaking of metal
this
albums,
is
am I here now?
100% on like the novel side.
Yes, because we wanted to try to make it a campaign that you can truly like a la carte what you want. Because I know that most of you guys probably have the Black Ballad. So if you don't, there you go. And all right, Drake, you are here now with us. But Courtney, you got to give us the pitch on the Adventure Journal.
Shit. Thanks. I love this.
Or you can distract us by raffling off and finding somebody to give a free VTT code to.
We'll do that later.
I was gonna say,
Stop being so
while Courtney collects
eager.
while Courtney collects her thoughts, everyone just rehash everything that was said while I was gone.
We answered questions. There you go. No, so Ashland's Adventure Journal is a full short story that Bunny and I worked on, with Bunny doing all of the illustrations and doodles for. And Ashlyn ends up losing her journal. And through the story, a player finds it, and it becomes that player's personal journal, and it's a full character sheet, including all of like the abilities, the skills. It has like spell cards, spell lists, a bunch of additional pages, because we really tried to think about what should be included, like what we would like to be included in all of the journals. So it's also got like pages for family trees, people you've met, places you've been, and a bunch of additional pages that you can fill with whatever you want. So like your own doodles or writings and notes and everything. There are a bunch of additional pages that you can just fill out whilst going through the full campaign of any game you're playing. And all of that was designed by Bunny and I as well. So everything was completely Ash, Bunny, and myself, and it was really fun project to work on with them because they're just phenomenal. Right, Chris,
Heck yes.
it's your turn.
Oh, me. Sorry. I'm going to leave the trying to engage with the chat in text to Nick or whoever's running the storytellers thing there, because I was trying to be helpful and I think I'm making things more confusing. Yes, lovely. So my novel was called it's called The Memory Thief. I can read the blurb that's going to be on the back of the book, but I can tell you from a little more behind the scenes stuff might be more fun. when I signed up for this project, Rick and Court and Pat hooked me up with the Black Ballad to like peruse through and learn about the lore and the background and everything. And I locked on to like, what do you mean there's crime in purgatory? I got her. Okay. Anyways,
Give the people what they want.
Your cat is so loud.
cat.
she's so loud, and she loves it when I'm on a conference call. Say hello. Usually you just
Boingling.
scream behind me like a ghost. Okay. All right, have fun. Anyways, so I locked on to like, what do you mean there's crime in the city of the dead? Well, obviously I'm going to write a whole book about that. So that's what the Memory Thief is about. It's about a memory thief. I know that's real shocking. But what it means to deal with angels and demons and stealing things that actually matter from the dead in a world where like gold doesn't count anymore. And why someone might do that for good or ill, and various consequences thereof. It was a lot of fun. I had an absolute blast kind of working through this whole thing and coming up with some characters that I don't think I ever would have written otherwise if it were not for this setting. So it was just an absolute delight to work on, and I'm hoping to do several more. We'll see.
I won't say no.
So, one question we get to actually answer right now, that did come up, and this is by Rian Irvin in a live stream. Asked a question that's very near and dear to the heart of those of us that are on Storytellers Forge. The Red Opera is fully and finally owned back in-house by the people that you see here up on this stream. It is ours. We have our baby back. There will be a virtual tabletop of the Red Opera at some point. We're going to end up reforging the Red Opera. We are going to take that book, re-update it, relaunch it, make some upgrades, actually do some stuff with Drake. And we're gonna tie some of the lore a little bit, fixing back into some original elements that we wanted to spice up a bit more. And but it will come back out, but that's a next year thing. But it's finally back home. And for those of you who are in the 19 viewers and more watching, the Red Opera tarot decks, because I know that one came up earlier, those have been made, and we will be shipping those out as soon as we get them. We're waiting for them to cross a boat across an ocean to get to us. They're on their way. But we are able to do that because of crowdfunding campaigns like the Black Ballad and novels. So
I'm just glad we were able to figure that out just to make good for people on the tarot
Right.
deck.
yes, I still haven't updated I haven't updated that crowdfunding campaign page yet, but I'll probably wait until later on.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, we're just happy it's back home. And I don't think anybody could be more happy than their journey that has gone through this entire process. Mr. Drake Mephisto, you are the musician behind the Red Opera and the Black Ballad, and if you're still with us, are you actually here now?
I am.
All right. So, dude, we started the Red Opera in our kitchen, literally over mead.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that was the Post the Ashes and Sorrow music video in which a thunderstorm scared a horse, and I nearly impaled myself and the horse while doing a stunt. So, needless to say, the mead was more than welcome after the fact. And Paul Allender, at one time, who some of you might know from the band Cradle of Filth, formerly was one of the founding members in that. Actually, for a time, played Dorian. Just acted in the music video. So yeah, there lies the three of us. He is bear witness.
If anybody ever goes and looks up the crazy Ashen Cincero's music video on Diamortia's website, I am in there as an accursed guard member, just in the background staring at a map and angrily pointing down. Sadly, I didn't get to hang out long enough to get my head decapitated, but I really wanted to.
In a funny way, it's as if Majin was there the whole time.
So
If you never
before I do gotta ask, because one of our only featured add-on on this crowdfunding campaign is the final release of the Black Ballad metal album. And I want to ask just one question from you. I already know it's awesome. I've already heard trailers. I've already heard that there's a secret track that might be on there. But what can people expect lore-wise? What story is this telling in your words?
Well, I mean, first off, I actually want to take a moment to thank all the people on this chat and all the people that actually made this possible, because without you guys, we wouldn't even have the ability to do this. And I think, as I had mentioned, actually somebody wrote me earlier thanking us for, the inspiration we gave them. And I, in turn, thank them, because what is an artist or musician without the eyes or ears of the individuals? And I feel like this is a very cyclical thing, because you guys drive us forward to continue to do this. And I just wanted to give that personal thanks to anybody who might be listening to this. With that said, for those who actually followed the metal album and the kind of the story and the building conflict, which then the RPG ran parallel, we actually start off at Ve Victis, the final track in the Red Opera, in which the final battle had consumed everybody and left everything decimated. Though the characters themselves had not yet realized in all of their vengeance and all of their rage that they had actually died. And so Majin appears before them almost as this grand antagonist. And they, of course, give chase, seeing him as, of course, what he is, the betrayer, but, also the one that they presume to be the source of all of their suffering, not realizing that they caused most of it themselves, which is kind of the whole point. So he takes them on this journey into these other misty, otherworldly places. I think visualization wise, a very beautiful, non-horrific Silent Hill with a heavy fog and snow, I think would be a good setting to kind of where these people find themselves. Not realizing that they're dead, they've actually entered into Majin's realm, the realm of the dead. As a timeless being, he has seen it all and is part of this grander kind of entropy, something that I feel like will eventually happen to us in billions and trillions countless years. So as these souls who have carried their conflict into the afterlife actually go through the stages of grief and loss thematically, starting with like denial, which is akin to Ve Victis, where each side refuses to die. And then, of course, the anger and the bargaining, the depression, when they're at their lowest and feel like all hope is lost. And then, of course, the acceptance, where Majin finally comes to them when he's finally broken them and showed them and held up a mirror to all the things that they had done, both in TRO and throughout this, the refusal to just let go. And he expresses himself to not be an enemy, but actually the one that's there to guide them to their final rest, which is where you get the themes of Beyond the Midnight Sky. And a lot of this, actually, funny enough, mirrors a lot of my personal life. I think Rick, above all people, knows every intimate detail of that. And so from a thematic standpoint, and the fact that, working as a mortician and living in a funeral home for a while, seeing these kinds of themes and seeing these hopes and dreams that people who you do pre-arrangements with one day and then you're cosmetizing the next, and them confessing a lot of the things that they wish they would have done. I tried to encapsulate all that and just bring that thematically into this. And it's also just been incredible to see, Rick, what you and the team and everybody has transformed it to on your side. It's been a wonderful surprise. So, yeah, I think that pretty much is a kind of a summary.
Heck yes.
I like how Courtney is right after her dice, but no, like
It's my set of dice.
I always forget.
In them. They're nice.
They make
No.
a cameo on each other's streams.
So here's something that like is Drake going back through like some of our history, and one thing that people don't necessarily realize is there was a time where I pitched you and we were going to do this thing because we talked and we would walk for hours and hours in woods late at night and just BS about like the story of the album and things like that. And I was like, okay, cool. I could turn this into a little campaign setting. And I start writing. And then I call Pat and I'm like, hey, Pat, this thing is a little bigger because my idea is getting bigger and bigger. And Pat's like, oh, I got you. I will write all of the encounters and do things. And then we're like, Courtney, we need help because I have to translate all of the. And Courtney was like, I want to do all of this. And somebody had asked a question about fate in the Black Ballad. Now, fate in the Red Opera from the RPG aspect is actually primarily in the way she's presented in the Red Opera RPG is by the Eldritch editor, which on the screen is up that way. So, and fate does not appear in the Black Ballad. I am sorry, Bruce. And there are reasons for that because there is a potential for a book 3 if our campaigns do well. And there are official Red Opera Black Ballad tie-ins. And one of our stretch goals on this campaign is the Red Opera Black Ballad tie-in, which might explore what happens in the Shadelands when the events in Lacroix and Dorian have killed each other and are duking it out in the Sunless Crossing. So now, John.
Run.
God,
I'm
you're up.
trying to fix permissions. I'm sorry.
What permissions? What's broken?
Crystal's having trouble getting in.
Oh, I'll fix.
John, you should put that fire out.
Fine. There. Great.
That's so much
Fire's
more
out.
approachable. Now I can actually imagine you trying to ride Chocobo over your couches or Sharky.
His name is Squee.
So since you're up, John, I know that we're gonna have you involved with writing on the Red Opera, and you did get to write on the Black Ballad. So what the hell did you do on the Black Ballad?
Well, on the Black Ballad, I did a major addition. Wrote the bare bones and the backbone of the Soul Stitched, based off of an idea provided by the fantastic Jaren.
And I gotta ask one thing here. I think that the Soul Stitched are featured heavily in some of our novels.
Ooh.
Little bit.
There are soul stitched within novels. I can speak, I promise, guys.
I was like, I didn't realize they became sausaged, but that's fine.
Oh, turn that fire back on.
All right.
Yeah. John, people are ashamed of your nakedness, okay?
That's fair.
Go back to burning in the hell that you belong.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes. So if all right, here's my shout out because Alias is doing the thing and they are all actually playing it right now, and you guys will get to see this stuff on Saturday. MEDM is putting on a crazy high-end production of the Black Ballad in the first opening chapters of the campaign. And it's a pretty crazy watch. You can watch their streams on Saturday or reruns on Friday. And it is completely over the top production. I mean, full on makeup casts, like the Godless class. They play all of the crazy music. Sean, the storyteller, every time changes his makeup to be more and more crazy. It is
Always knocks it out the park.
yes.
Always.
But I do have to give a very special shout out to one person in the stream that absolutely has my heart. Because their character, I am waiting for the storyteller Sean to just smack the character into the ground. But Jacques, you got it coming, man. I'm sorry. It's just gonna happen.
Excuse me, it's pronounced yacht.
No, I thought it was Jacques. I'm sorry. But at some point, it's going to come. All right, that little pixie is going to get backhanded down into the ground.
Well, I can tell you, Rick, that a character has died. And since we might get renewed, we don't know what to do now because they died. They Black Ballad died.
Oh no!
But I'm not going to tell you who. You'll
That's
have
his
to tune
life.
in to twitch.tv/Medium Live or YouTube at Medium Live to find out severed threads, notes from the Black Ballad.
He's got like the coolest voice. Everybody, we just need him to be our
100%.
audiobook narrator.
Right.
With that, I'm going to go back to producing the stream because I actually do direct and produce the entire stream live. So, cheers! And thanks,
We
everybody.
appreciate you.
That looks really cool. Can we justify turning any of their characters that die into like some ridiculous monster stat?
Guys, yes, you know how this plan works, right? The reason we are crowdfunding and we're trying to get beyond our hey, we made some novels, right? There is some math behind this. We crowdfund novels and then we make some really fancy artwork, and everybody behind the scenes knows that we're secretly writing the entire setting guide. And then we're going to take all this cool
Well, it's
stuff
not
from
everyone
all
behind the scenes now, is it?
Yeah, well, guess what? The 25 people watching, anybody else who tunes in later, it makes it to this part that hears that bit, knows that we're writing other books and other projects. And we will get to take all of the cool stuff that we find from our streamers, even like red to black streams. And there's a particular wedding dress that I need to write up. Now from a Friday stream I just watched. But we're going to put them in the setting guide. And there's ways that we can pay homage as creators to the stuff that you guys all make with what you are doing. I mean, literally, some of our stretch goals are I'm going to hold these authors down to their keyboards and make them write their characters and NPCs from the novels into NPCs, adventure hooks, crazy magic items. Courtney, when she was in editorial and she was going through dev editing,
Still am.
weren't you like, we're making this an item? I'm in love with this thing. That
has happened to not only characters, blink, 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 looking at no one in particular,
What?
but also items. Like there is so much good stuff that I'm like, no, I this is going here now. Thank you.
So
Yeah,
okay,
no, we don't have a Google Doc somewhere with a bunch of like
we're just
pre-stats and things. That doesn't sound like something we do.
so
not a thing.
we're actually 1 hour into the stream, and I'm going to do the official thing, even though the stream's going to go on a little bit longer. I am officially going to give away a God tier. I back every one of my crowdfunding campaigns that I ever produce and put on. It's just the way it freaking works, all right? Because I want a copy for my own bookshelf. So I'm going to give away a God tier that I bought earlier today to somebody on the stream in chat who has not yet backed the Black Ballad. Or if you have backed the Black Ballad and you want a God tier, just say something and we're going to roll the freaking dice and you're going to get my copies. Because the requirement is you actually have to go to your social media pages and you have to share our campaign. Because at the moment, our crowdfunding campaign still isn't going to happen. We are doing really good on day one, but we have yet to hit our gold. So help us get to our goal. And this is my bribe. Go personally message somebody who thinks that this campaign would be awesome and tell them to go back it. So, but
You did just hit 90 backers. Woo.
We did.
We're
not too far off.
But if you want a God tier, just say something in chat and I'm gonna roll a dice and somebody's gonna get a God tier. I'm gonna let other people talk while I watch chat for a bit.
Well, whilst we're doing that pause, we can answer another question. So Haley asks, for the books. So, Chris, you're the one person here.
So what? Huh?
spotlight on you. What made you gravitate towards the particular genre that you did with your novel?
So, for me, it was about it wasn't so much the genre that I started from. It was like I have a particular scale of stories that I like to write. So, like, Tattered Pawns was my first one, and I think it's very much in the same vein of like the interesting thing to me about like crazy fantastic worlds is not the Elminster or the Blackstaff or the crazy 20th level wizards slapping, angels and demons around. It's the like, what's several levels down from that? How does that guy interact with, Sauron's army marching through the world or whatever? So right off the jump, when I started talking to Rick and Courtney and Pat and everybody, it was very much like we came up with a couple of different pitches of like stories it could be. And the one that I was really pulling for that wound up going forward was like, I want to know what Nox Valar is like the City of the Dead is like for like the not heroes of the realm who have fought and killed a god. It's just like, no. Cypress is one of the main characters, and Cypress they're a shapeshifter. She can change form and everything. But like that's it. Like if you hit her with a meteor, she's gonna die. Like that's the end of it. And like in fantasy worlds and in science fiction and whatever, like that's just the stories that are more compelling to me because I think it shows kind of like the epic scale and the experience of the world through a different lens than we get a lot of the time. And all of my characters are very like that. Like I like fantasy characters with unique and interesting but also limited powers, and from that flowed like, okay, so we're gonna do this like what is like the streets of Nox Valar level look like? I don't want to talk to the person who's going in and like challenging the monarch to an arm wrestling contest. I want to talk to the person who's like, there's a pretty good chance this random guard here can lock me up for the rest of eternity, and I've got to deal with that right now. Like that's just a fun and compelling narrative to kind of weave through, and that's what we did. So that's how I wound up in the niche I wound up, and we had an absolute blast with it because you could still do all the epic 20th plus level crazy stuff. It's just not coming from your main character, and they have to deal with that, and that's fun.
Right. Okay.
I'm personally a fan. I love I don't want to say smaller stories because that feels more character driven stories that, and I think all of us that if you like science fiction or fantasy or superhero genres, classic nerd genres, you obviously get into them because it's you do like the epic save the world stuff, but also as you consume more of it and create more of it, I'm someone who really appreciates a smaller story, smaller scale, or character-driven story that happens to take place, like a crime, sort of a crime drama that happens to take place in a fantasy setting, or I always love when it's this inside of this. Right, yes. Give me all the trappings of fantasy or science fiction, but tell me a different story other than hero saves the world.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I said on some social media or something the other day, I'm a huge 40K nerd. Not to deviate from the topic here, the Black Ballad Chronicles. But I'm a huge 40K nerd. Everyone's talking about Space Marine and everything right now, and I'm like, the story I want to write for the Black Library, which they will never hire me or talk to me or know who I am, but it's fine.
Actually, I wouldn't say that. I know some peeps.
Rick?
Okay. The Black Library is fucking awesome. The Black Library is fucking awesome, right? I'm just going to say that right there. All right. But
we got to talk about that later. The story that I would love to write for them, although let me be clear, I'll do anything for money. The story I would love to write for them is actually from the perspective of like, I want a random non-imperial citizen on like a forgotten world who gets invaded by Space Marines, because it's real easy to lose the scale of this epic 40K universe of like when everyone's a Space Marine and they're fighting Tyranids and whatever. It's like, no, one single Space Marine is absolutely horrifying in lore. And they don't tell the story of, oh God, they're coming. Oh God, they're coming to our world. And that's the story. Like that is super interesting to me, and they don't do it. But that's kind of the ethos I carry forward. It's the stories I enjoy. It's the stories I enjoy writing. It's the characters I have a lot of fun with. So that's where we wind up. Though, Garrett P.I. is a great influence on me. The Black Company's classic, all that kind of stuff.
So, before I dive into Black Company lore with
right.
I write this over. I do want to point out one thing. Our art director James Mazingo has been stalking the chat and occasionally in there giving sass to Courtney.
I saw that one. I'm not gonna grace it with a response.
He got me on that one.
But our first stretch goal that we have, when we hit our crowdfunding goal, which we're up to 89 backers. So
we're at
90. Okay. So if we hit our goal, which is probably very, very likely, but our first stretch goal is actually the return of our Black Ballad art team to do covers for the Chronicles of the Crossing novels. Now, we can do covers, sort of on our own, but there's a difference between Black Ballad artwork, and the whole art group coming in to custom design full scenes and covers. So I know James is definitely in there, like watching, like which people are we going to hit there, and can we design some crazy cool, like, cover art. You're back. Oh wait, no. I'm looking at a lagged stream. Why the heck am I? I'm just gonna look down.
It's a delay. It's normal.
I'm so confused by this. Okay,
there's a delay.
Rick, is the stream in the room with you right now?
Yes, the stream is in the room with me right now, and I keep looking up, and I have such a mental disconnect because the chat is real time, but the stream isn't.
We've gotten to watch Rick disassociate in real time tonight.
The chat is a flat circle.
I have two instances of it up. I've got like the actual call on like one half of my tiny screen, and then the YouTube stream on the other half.
Yeah.
The way to do that is you break out the actual call that's live for us into a smaller window, and you place it right over the video part of the delayed stream, so you can still see chat. And you have the live call that's in real time.
Okay. You know what? I want to see you guys do the back end coding for all of the Backerkit and Stripe configuration. Pat, you handle the streamy stuff. No sass.
I can barely make my own streams work properly.
It's fine. I just now realized there is actually an independent chat where Nick is telling us important techie things in our window.
Am I the only one who knows where everything
Whoops.
It's all
yes,
like
Court. Yes, we've been doing this a good while now. Yes, obviously you're the only one.
It's like, oh yeah, that was good information we should have had.
Wait, where's Nick talking to?
Yeah.
In this specific call chat, the text chat.
Anyways, Rick's being very silly, and we should focus on that.
Yeah. Anyway, there it is.
Guess what, Pat? You're Pat and Courtney. You guys are in charge. You know what? No, you two are often in charge. Biscuits, you're in charge for a bit until I get back.
Oh God!
The last time I put Biscuit in charge of anything, he radically altered the world lore for the next archive.
Is that the thing that I read?
No.
No. Oh no.
So
no.
Oh no.
So completely semi-related. I have a small little actual play show called The Nick's Archive. And we had Nick and another guest GM on. Those episodes are coming out later this month, though, and they were timed to come out as like a special side quest with the Black Ballad stream and all that kind of stuff. And John did a thing that I had not prepared for at all. They were like walking into the boss fight, and he said the one thing you can't say in a place like that. I'm not going to spoil it. And I was forced on my honor to just give over like 30 seconds of God power to like, Nick, you get to decide something that is true about the world right now, because I have to justify that. And he did, and it's turned into an entire side quest that the girls keep bothering me to keep continuing. So that's going to be a thing now.
Oh man, if I'm not mistaken, that one comes out on November 4th, right?
That is the plan. Yes.
Oh my god, I cannot wait
Yeah.
to have
yeah.
everybody just like, what did you do?
Biscuit is present in all universes.
Goblin. Just as a person, he is a chaos goblin, and
Yes, this
I
is true.
adore you for it, but chill, dude, chill.
Wait,
I
I
is
chilled out
this?
and
Do I know
died.
what this is? Is this? I'm just gonna say one word and pigeons.
No,
Oh, okay.
this is not the same thing.
Oh, that
Okay.
implies a whole other tier of lore that is also terrifying.
We don't talk about the pigeons. We don't talk about the pigeons.
Okay. Anyways.
Talk about it or not. They're
They
every
are
day,
coming.
same every year, same day. The pigeons are coming.
I did have to make an evil seagull for a game. That was fun.
Evil seagull.
Yeah, it's an eldritch seagull. It's actually like an official relic stat block.
Is the name Steven?
No. I guess it could be. I mean, I don't know.
No, Pet. It's obviously Greg.
Oh, too fun.
How about Bob?
There
No,
were multiple seagulls. You guys can name them whatever you want. Like it's
Hey, we're all winners.
from accounting. Bob.
Chris H says bring on the pigeon talk. I don't like the challenge in that tone.
No.
Oh, the I mean that's something I don't know. I'm gonna let Rick let that one out if he wants to.
Boss right now. He put
Oh,
you
that is true. I can absolutely
you're boss right
spoil
now.
that. I am the boss. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and Court, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. There's something special that's going on to everybody that backs this, right? That's how it's being given out. Like at least at least at the lowest tier, they'll all get a copy of it.
I would have to check with Rick.
Jesus. Well, I can't.
I spend my life editing. I listen to nothing else except for Nick's archives.
You've also listened to me talk about the last thing we edited. So.
I just want to
escort me like actual like real world logistics.
I just want to.
There were too many. There were too many bugs. It was 2 bugs and 2 was too many.
I just want to real quick thank Haley from the chat for helping me get the joke.
Yes, to answer the question, if you back within the first 48 hours, which we kind of calculated would get us to our actual goal, you will get a free side quest as one of your options. You have 2 choices. You can either take the Gamble of Fates, which we run using Purgatory poker decks, and it works great for conventions. It's a great game to run if half your party dies, and the other half is still alive because they're all stuck in a Purgatory poker den that Pat and I ended up creating with Crystal Mauser for the creation of Purgatory poker. And this Gamble of Fates is a full side quest about gambling to get a chance at resurrection. Or you can be the Black Ballad B-side. You can be the heroes who showed up a day late and $1 short in a campaign that spawned from people running at RPG in a Castle and a crazy thought that John, on his own accord, went and surprised the hell out of me, called the Scarlet Pigeon Incident, where you're homeless in the Black Ballad, and you have to defend the realm as it's falling apart from pigeons and shit, and hope that you deal with a mad wizard in time to at least keep your park bench alive.
You can tell that Pat is a father purely because he went so disappointed dad mode there.
Okay,
I'll
Crystal, I have
never
no idea how to say
apologize.
your last name. I'm sorry. It's Mazer, right? Crystal, I'm gonna have to pull you into this chat just to literally come say your name. You're on staff and you're one of our writers, so you can technically pop in this channel. Also, I would like to point out that my stepsister is named Mauser. That's her last name, so that's why I always say it that way.
It's okay. No one's been spelling my name correctly in
Mazer.
the chat.
Mazer. Dude, that's
Mazer beans.
cyberpunk as hell.
Well, you got an extra E in there, Court.
Not the point.
You got a you got a superfluous E,
I have so many E's on my
a
name.
vestigial E.
How dare you?
It
Make it
should
sound so
Brits and their
nasty.
vowels.
Oh, hey, James happened to join the stream.
I should
James,
have poked the editor.
James, do you want to pop on camera and talk about art in regards to the Black Ballad and what you do as art director? If you're actually here in the chat.
Yeah, give me just a minute.
I do have
everybody-
a question that you can answer it.
What's that?
So Hugo asked, is there an idea of a 7th age setting?
Yes. I may have finished my third novel, and we are working in the background on a book called Seventh Age Ravenous, which is 7 one-shot horror stories that might go live next year, that are set with political horror of what happens in Washington, D.C. when they gain access to the ability of summoning demons and having access to nuclear codes. We also have an idea for a full 7th Age RPG that is more, and I'm actually been looking at systems, and I think I found one that actually works, but I don't want to announce it before we get to that point, but we're going to do the system first, and then I have an idea for a full 7th Age RPG that goes onto it, but that might be a little bit further down the line before Ravenous. I do have artwork that I will start dropping at some point soon from the 7th Age, though. Okay, James. Hello. Everybody, this is our art director, James Mazingo. He's the one who coordinates and does all of the beautiful artwork that you see. I'm probably pointing to the wrong side of the screen because he shows up this way on my screen, which means he's probably over here on yours.
Yeah, I am top right of you on the YouTube stream. I'm sorry, your left.
My YouTube stream keeps desyncing.
Technology. So, James, talk about art.
Hi. We are making awesome art for this awesome book. Got to get us funded, get all that extra cash flowing so we can hire amazing artists, even more artists, and we can treat our artists with respect to make sure that they're given like great financial benefits to work with us. One thing that we worked really hard on is having diverse art, diverse artists, because when you have a diverse team, it really shows out the quality product that you come up with. And so with that, we're going to have a breadth of amazing artists that are going to be coming back from the Black Ballad book to help us with the cover art for Chronicles of the Crossing and all the new fancy stuff that we can put in, provided that we hit our goals.
Now, this is all true, but I think there's one tier that I know kind of were super excited because you asked me about it. You were like, okay, Rick, what does cover art's one thing, but one of our later on tiers is this full idea of double 2-page spread epic battle scenes set from each of the novels that we get to fully illustrate and bring to life. And those things are infinitely more work when it comes to an artist's time and painting. And in typical, most people don't see this because on our Discord server, we have a ton of work channels kind of behind the scenes, but you tend to go through with most artists about usually 6 to 8 revisions before you get to a final art piece, right?
Yeah, and that's mostly because we make a style guide and we make sure that everyone is doing the art that fits within the world. With artists, we love to do stuff that oh, this feels really great. I kind of want to do it this way. So we try to make sure that everything really fits on brand, really fits within the world. Make sure that you can turn to any page and okay, this totally makes sense here and this totally fits here. So that was very important to us.
Yeah, and the worst part is I want to talk about some of the other artwork we have coming in, but I can't yet. We got to keep it on secret, because art is like, for me as a writer, when I see the stuff that like James goes out and brings in. So the way the flow works is James had to cut me off from writing art orders long ago. I am not allowed to write art orders because as an author, I want to type in everything. I want to be like, here's the mood, here's the story, here's the background, here's all these like fun things. So I hand my art orders to Courtney and things that I think would be cool. I'm like, I want to see pieces of these for crowdfunding mode. And then Courtney and James will work together and come up with ideas. And Courtney will write up all of the art orders. And she is a god at Pinterest in finding inspiration, artwork, and things like that. And it's funny is because when you're in person, you will hear Courtney swear about the amount of AI art that is on the internet. And
It's a
proliferating.
ridiculous amount.
It's really
Courtney-
ruined Pinterest, like honestly.
It
Mhm.
has. You look at one thing and it's just like 100 AI with one good non-AI, and it's like that. I want more of that. That one.
And I want to use that opportunity just to tell anyone listening, there is zero AI art in anything that we do. It is in our
100%.
contract. No artists are allowed to use AI. And the ones we hired wouldn't anyways. But that is a very hot topic right now. So we could say absolutely no AI art in anything that Storyteller Forge does, especially our current project.
Yeah, and it actually won't be going that will not be changing anytime soon. Even on the writing end, if I know NaNoWriMo may be supporting authors doing NaNoWriMo via AI generation, it's not going to happen. Quite frankly, I could, if ChatGPT writes my 50,000 word NaNoWriMo, I did not race the marathon. I just hired somebody to go do it for me. So it's actually really important. Our whole studio is founded on the idea that we actually contribute and give incentive back to our creators that help bring these projects to life. Fun fact that people who are like watching this stream right now might not know, every single contributor on our projects, whether they be artists, editors, streamers, people who are working on it, layout artists, even people who are just helping us do social media, have in their contracts that they're always able to grab the book at wholesale cost and go to conventions, and we give them a steeper discount than we do Amazon or most bookstores, because we know that there's not a lot of money in TTRPGs, right? It's a really rough industry and market unless you hit something that goes gangbusters. And most artists and writers, when you've been in the industry, you kind of go from gig to gig to gig to gig to gig, and it doesn't really help you out establishing yourself further in the industry. And one of our artists, Olivia Hintz, took Black Ballad books for the first time to DragonCon. And she was like, I'm going to bring this box of 10 Black Ballad books to DragonCon. She's like, man, books are heavy. And she set up at DragonCon and she sold them all by Thursday and was like, you're the only studio that lets me do this. I want more books, please. Thank you. And we're super happy about that. That's one of the things that, for my end, I'm trying to change in the tabletop gaming industry. I really want any creative to be able to like benefit from their work long term. So that's kind of like a personal advocate thing of mine, because Pat and I have both been through the trenches as writers on the other side.
It says
Respect your creatives.
it says a lot about the like what you're trying to do, Rick. And I mean, it's the same in the entertainment industry. I think that's one thing that we all gravitate towards, is that we're not cutting corners and we're not sacrificing quality. And above all else, especially whether it's understood or not, it's engendering trust in a very untrustworthy environment, I'd like to say. And it's not easy. We've all been grinding for a long time now.
I am happy to say that as of this moment, everybody who's done anything with Storytellers Forge has been paid. That is like a thing that we have to watch out for in crowdfunding tabletops, because crowdfunding is always a risk. For if you still haven't backed a project yet, I will tell you that all of the books have already been written, and all the way mostly through editorial. There's still one that's going through the process, but that's because Courtney is one person and 4 books is a lot of books. So that being said, what else we got?
I have questions.
All right, what you got?
Ray said, wow. I think it would be cool to explore the origins of Margin's motivations.
Majin's motivations? I can answer this.
Mhm.
So, okay. Majin for me came about when and I think I can say this because like I know in the original Red Opera Metal album, there was no, it was just the betrayer, wasn't Majin, and it was just kind of this person that set things in place. But when I sat down and started writing, I was like, how do you kill somebody in a fantasy setting? It is freaking impossible, right? When you look at D&D or most Magic settings, it is absolutely impossible because the game writers a lot of times never take into account the implications of magic, right? Usually the lore and the setting and the ideas that they want to create are created first, and then other people come in and write powers, and the powers and the spells can get completely like bonkered out of the world. And even if you did kill somebody, right? There's divination magic. There's scrying. It doesn't matter if you're playing Vampire the Masquerade. It doesn't matter if you're playing, Legend of the Five Rings with Shugenja. It doesn't matter if you're playing Rifts or Deadlands. Every game system has crazy magic powers of detection, scrying, figuring out who murdered somebody, and how, even if you did kill them, they come back and can be brought back. So perhaps, in Majin's view, this is why fantasy worlds never change. Fantasy worlds stay the fantasy worlds, and you read these things for thousands and thousands of years. There's this history, and the world turns and it goes on. I love the Wheel of Time series, but the Wheel of Time series is just the retelling of the same thing, wheel after age after age after age, and nothing truly advances that much. Magic comes, it goes, it wanes, and it moves up. And Majin is sitting there looking at this and going, people are stuck in a cycle of torment, and I can hear every single one of their dreams. I can hear every single time they die. I can hear every single wish that they make. And what they really want is the end. Not necessarily the end of their life, just the end of this cycle. And so Majin's primary motivation is to find a way to end the cycle.
Hey Rick, you probably should have said spoiler warning before diving into that.
No, he actually says it right in the opening letter, and if you listen to the trailer, that's the introduction letter to the Black Ballad. That is like number one thing you read in the book is Majin telling you this is what I'm about.
Maybe some of us skipped to the pretty pictures first.
Yeah.
I wasn't
there
even
are
aware
many.
there were words.
Wait,
My
this is a
job is
game?
done.
Stop me. I can't read.
It's actually a really good art book that just happens to have a whole bunch of really pretty words in there also.
That's what all those words are.
The words are just suggestions. It's the pictures that matter.
Finally, thank you, Court.
Look, you want some interesting motivations, all right? Let's just talk about Kelzir or Razel, depending on which book you're reading, okay?
Dummy mommy.
What?
Pat, there's another TikTok.
Oh no.
Look, there's only 2 modes. You either love her or you hate her, but
Listen.
secretly love her.
She is the most fun villain to play as a DM.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I have to agree with Haley that it's not spoilers if it comes from Lore Daddy. Just want that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Sorry, Rick, didn't mean to step on what you're saying.
No, you're good. Like I said, it's the intro, and you don't even have to read the words. We had them voice acted. by Carlos and put up on YouTube so you could just watch that.
With pictures.
That's my kind of book.
I do think, Rick, to that point, I do think it's been very interesting, especially on my end, to see like what you've taken with the character and the parts that compare and contrast, and the types of ways that you've reinterpreted. Because in your endless cycle, especially like with the high fantasy and people not being able to die, and that running the parallel with my original vision of somebody being a timeless being and seeing the rise and fall of empires and civilizations. Because I myself am very much like into history. I love world history. So,
Hey, Drake, one quick question.
Yeah.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Oh my god, not this.
Everybody else chuckled.
Well, no.
Which one?
But one thing that
When we're living.
in the early
no.
in the earlier stages, that all these great battles were won and lost, and you read about all these tales of triumph, and yet here we are in the present, and it all seems like this kind of echo and fade in memory. So to your point, actually, and the reason why at the time I couldn't even conceive of the name, because how do you name something that is so timeless that it could have gone by either many names or that which is kind of unspoken? And because how do you give a name to the something that is beyond human comprehension, who himself again sees the rise and falls of all things and the patterns and the cycles? So I think the idea of cycles is something that's I've really enjoyed. That take on it in the high fantasy world was a really fantastic direction.
Thank you, man. Shit. Courtney, got any other questions?
Yes. So Haley asks, what do you think the main NPCs of the Black Ballad would drink at a bar?
Ooh, Pat, I think you got to go with this one. And I mean, like, I'll like most of you in here could probably, even James could probably drop a.
I think I'm gonna go. I think that people would look at Ashlyn and come up with preconceived notions and pour like a white wine, and she would send it back and say and get a Manhattan straight up, a classic bourbon cocktail.
You're not wrong.
Like a tiny bit, a little bit of those Luxardo cherries, just a little bit, the tiniest hint of a sweet, but like something that stands up more on its own.
You're not wrong, because that's exactly what I was thinking for her as well, right in that moment.
Come on.
Get out of my brain, Pat.
I just want a monarch it seems like I could have a beer with,
So my Majin would definitely be a huge fan of mezcal. They want all the smoke.
Okay.
They like a smoked cocktail, a little tartness maybe to it.
No, my Majin would have the most offensive tiki drink with more peaches and umbrellas and fruit that can possibly be even held on top of, like, I mean, a cacophony of pure offensiveness with a straw that bends. And like they're sitting there in court like, yes, I see.
That it must be topped with Malort if you're looking to
What about Valen, though?
Well, which one?
Valen.
Ooh.
I feel like it's too easy to say like a giant mug of ale or something. I feel like it's too easy.
No.
It feels obvious, but
He doesn't strike me as an ale guy.
Wait, gargoyles in the Black Ballad canonically, per their rule stat, have the ability to actually eat rocks for sustenance.
So long as it isn't
Nice.
the type they're made of, yeah.
Right.
Well, they make a rock smoothie.
Right. So I could see
That's just sand.
Valen literally having some like jade, like constructed, like specially spicy cocktail, but it's got to be spicy
wait, it's
enough
also
that
jade?
would make. Yes.
No,
this
no.
cocktail's made of himself. It's a
No. It's a
Kinda
Long
candles
Island
also.
rock tea.
the Long Island rock.
Ooh.
Well, we know Kelsiers. That's too easy.
So what?
I was
Cold
just
and
about to
spicy?
ask
A
that.
Bloody Mary.
Naughty corner. Timeout corner.
I bring you back as Jasper's co-dad. You're fine.
How dare?
All right.
My
so
Majin would drink Tang and gin.
okay.
So at which stretch goal are we doing the Black Ballad cocktail menu with all the signature drinks?
That's
One unmarked currently.
yes. We always
Development is already starting now.
Oh no.
well in the
I
in the
would
Red
do it.
Opera, we literally had food menus and drink menus.
That's right.
Drinks, yeah.
So that will come. All right. One question that was asked in the YouTube chat was about the Godless class that I want to
Yes.
ask.
What is
Yeah.
each of your favorite part about the Godless class?
Can I go? Because I have to.
You
Go
got
for
a
it.
dip?
I might have to. I'm getting, but in a sec. But I want to go because I think honestly, just overall, my favorite thing about it is the sort of customization of it, where I feel like it just allows for a lot of. No two godless are the same as far as whether it's your signature like damage that you deal and you're resistant to, and then the features you build that are very unique, and you can build very, very one of a kind character mechanically speaking.
So mine is something I worked very hard to make sure was put into this like class. You get 2 paths in the Black Ballad. You're either over 20 levels going to resurrect your god, or you're going to kill the god and steal its power. But neither one of them have an alignment attached to them. As in, you can play a divine assassin from a good holy church that is on the godless class, trying to raise up enough power to make sure that an evil deity is destroyed and consumed completely. Or you could play an evil cultist that's trying to resurrect your god. And when you normally think, oh, I'm playing a godless and I'm going to resurrect my god, that might be seen as good alignment. But you can totally play it from a dark side or flip that and even make the god killer class a good class. That's my favorite part.
You do the ultimate blackguard. You played a good character for 20 levels, and then tempting. Just tempting.
Well, that's not fair. You two said the 2 parts that I love.
Way to steal all the good
sign
work.
off. I love you all, both people on this call with me and everyone in the chat hanging out with us. I love you all very much. I'm excited. I'm telling you, pick a stretch goal. I will do the cocktail. I'll do it. I already have like a massive
It was
thing of
so
cocktail.
easy to rope you into that, Pat.
I mean, that you can't get more down the wheel, the middle of the plate for me. So
okay, I'll put up a community poll. If we hit 300 backers, I will make the authors put a drink recipe at the back of their books.
Oh, I can do that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, done.
So,
and I speak for all of the authors since I'm the only one who showed up.
I will quality control each of them and test them and make sure that they're good.
I don't care.
That's
It's
gonna put
2
live
a.m.
stream.
Chris's time. This is.
Who's going to drink them all in a row? So by the end, that last one's going to be stellar.
Well, we'll do a special one of these again, maybe, and I'll have all the stuff, and I'll make them line them up. All right.
Take care.
Not bad.
Bye.
Someone, Haley asked in the chat, what would Johann's drink if he could drink? First of all, he does, and it's obviously a Cosmo. Johann has been played so drastically different by every single one of the storytellers I've talked to. He's been everything from like your good old boy to like an Australian to I play him as the radio demon, right? So it's just, it doesn't matter what you do. Johann will drink anything and be like, that was good, even though it just goes right through his face.
And I play him as an undead bone skeleton man. So, from who's French. So,
Oui.
the worst combination.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, Rick, what's your French accent sound like?
I
Oh,
am
come on.
not doing that on a stream. That is potentially going
are.
to be on the internet. There's a reason I storytell for a
Potentially, it
home
already
groups.
is.
Yo, yes, there's a reason I storytell and not on stream. I'm an in-person
Maybe
GM.
Court should do it, as she is from the country closest to France and the rest of us.
That's how
Absolutely
the
not.
accents work.
I don't want to be blunt.
Yes.
It is. I can. So I've heard Court's French accent, so I can mimic Court's French accent.
You.
It's true. I verify.
I'm sorry.
I
Yeah,
will
right,
a pair of you from
Did-
the stream.
right. So Rick just acknowledged that he's heard my French accent replicating Court's French accent, and he verifies it sounds exactly like it.
Yes.
Did anyone catch Barg in the chat just say, I play him as gay Skeletor?
Perfect.
All right, no more. No
You do
notes.
I think that's the
Then-
official answer.
That's a pretty good answer, to be fair.
Gosh.
Where we meet again?
Welcome to the Sunless Crossing.
Oh.
I just assume that's how all shepherds sound.
I do have one last question. It was by Jay Frosk, saying, I would like to know how you are going to expand upon this idea, and what other settings would you like to explore for, like, in terms of Black Ballad?
In terms of Black Ballad. So in the setting of the Black Ballad, like the setting guide, I think the concept behind that is to remove the storyline and just actually create a sandbox so that we can give the ultimate toolkit to every single player table and storyteller out there. And we would probably want to write it for a bunch of different game systems. Like, we've created a great purgatory realm that fits for whatever you're doing. So when you kill some players, there's something to do. You don't have to fudge the dice. You don't have to stop your game or let your game unwind. There's a story to be told afterwards. And in the actual setting book, we want to explore upon the godless subclasses. We actually want to make Ashen Shepherd subclasses. We want to get into factions. We want to create more player options. We want to let people in the living world start dabbling with what it means to, like, be an undead who gets killed down there. And there's just a lot with Purgatory Poker that we want to play with, and there's a lot of lore that we want to add to the world. We came up with, after we wrote the book, and it wasn't until I actually had the physical poker decks that this started happening, which, by the way, James is the one who drew those. And we started running Gamble of Fates and Purgatory Poker, where players would gamble their memories instead of crossway coins. And that became 10 times more impactful than what we actually wrote in the book. And so we're going to make that an entirely illegal thing in like both the novels and also in the Sunless Crossing setting guide. And we're going to play with that way more. So that's probably where I would expand it. I do have ideas for a third mega campaign book, but we got to get through Red Opera and
Yeah, there's so much on the plate.
yeah, this one first. But then at some point, we will disappear and go back into writing mode, and then come up with a whole idea for a third mega campaign.
Boy.
I can totally validate Rick's proposition of the Sunless Crossing as a systemless purgatory that is available up for grabs, because Court, as one of our 3 fans, I just want to let you know, if somebody dies on the Nyx archive, they're going to see this golden field of ashen wheat, and we're going to have a little fun there. Just putting it out there. Yeah. So, but I mean, truly, like, especially now having 4 novels worth of other, 3 besides me, people adding to the setting and the world and everything, like Nox Valar and the Sunless Crossing have become an extremely dense world very quickly. And I think there's a lot to dig through there in terms of just having an encyclopedia atlas campaign guide that you can just
that's
turn into a sandbox.
That's actually why we are literally here on stream tonight, is because we did just that. You authors read the campaign book that we made and then wrote entire full-length freaking fantasy novels based on that. And probably more than one if we hit our goal. And the idea is that, like, because okay, so many game studios, we kind of go from like TTRPG project to TTRPG project to TTRPG project. We wanted to like splice it up and do something a bit different. So,
actually, John actually beat me to making it canon in Nyx because you dropped a Sunless Crossing line as soon as Biscuit started walking. Oh, last time I was here, I was into Sunless Crossing. Bah, bah, bah. And I had to play it in as part of the conversation. Like, yeah, the priest knows what you're talking about. So that's already happened. That was
What a sweet boy.
Look, I do all sorts of things when people allow me to talk, much to the chagrin of the people allowing me to talk.
I want to point out that Bruce Ford in the chat just said any setting that has jump mishaps, any space setting, but I think any setting that has jump mishaps could land PCs in the Sunless Crossing, and that is extremely dangerous to be living in the Sunless Crossing. But I think it's a great idea. You should do it to your players.
So actually, I should have, like, Louis Mazza also hopped in to the chat and said something, and Lou got a chance to play Purgatory Poker in the Gamble of Fate session that we were running at Anime Central here in Chicago. And we had two different storytellers telling at different times. One was Riley and another was Blake. And these are storytellers that were not me. I am not, like, they were not the people that worked on the book, but they're just storytellers picking it up and doing dealers and running it. And the way that we ran it was that everybody would come at the convention and sit down for 2 hours, and nobody, not even the storyteller, knew anything about their characters, and they're dead at the table. And everybody at the table is just competing for a chance at resurrection. But you're gambling your memories one shot at a time. And that means that every player is sitting there at the table telling, here's how I died, here's what I loved. And you're raising and risking these memories permanently. That, for conventions, happens to be like one of the coolest one-shot pickup games that I need to start like telling people, like, this is an option and a way to play because it plugs into any game system. It doesn't matter if you're playing 10 Candles or you're playing D&D or Vampire the Masquerade. If you have an afterlife, you can flip that in.
And what a great way to like get players to immediately engage with like their characters having intrinsic motivation too, because I like that because you as a player above the table know what you gave up. You also know that your character has the memory of giving up a thing, but not what it was. And so, like, if you have, like, we've all had players who have a little bit harder time of, like, what does my character want? Why do I do things? Why am I an adventurer? It's like, well, because you know that you gave up the 5 most important things in your brain. They're out there somewhere. Go get them. Like, that's just such a fun way to kick things off or to, like, spice up a midpoint in a campaign.
Gamble of Fate starts off fantastic session zeros.
Yeah.
In the setting guide, we're going to make Gamble of Fates actually the session 0 that everybody kind of just falls down and they've died. They didn't all fall in the Ashen Fields together. You just kind of, here's your session 0 into the Sunless Crossing.
Love that.
And yeah. So we got 8 minutes left.
Let's do one quick question, last one. How confident are we all in our Purgatory Poker skills if we had to bet?
I would do better if I never looked at my cards. Straight up. Just
would be
bet blind and take the chance.
I would be smooth of brain and empty of thoughts by the second hand.
I would be absolutely screwed because if I die, probably Courtney is somewhere in the same vicinity as me, and she is terrible luck when it comes to gambling.
Excuse me.
Nope.
That's only with craps. I'm a red 7 girly. I don't know how, but I am.
I am an exceptional gambler, so I would do poorly.
I've never gambled, so I guess we'll find out together.
Bruce, you got 7 minutes. Get it in.
I think I got one more question.
We're all going to stirrupers.
If each of
Ooh.
you were a gargoyle, what would be your core?
Bourbon.
No hesitation. You got to pick a rock, dude.
It's whiskey stone. Ha
Granite.
First obsidian.
Ooh.
Ooh, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, what? I'm a nerd. I want to know what the parameters are here. Does it have to be a rock? Can it be an element? Like, what's naturally occurring ore? Like, what's the deal?
All
Mineral,
stones. It can be
I think. Yeah.
quartz, jade, slate, granite, cobblestone.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Tungsten, because I'm thick. Just and a relatively high heat tolerance.
Oh,
Oh man, I hope the wizard sends pigeons to your house.
I don't know what that means, but I know a threat when I hear one. God damn it! Like just.
All right, guys. We're about to end the stream, so I'm gonna let everybody go for the night. I haven't checked the crowdfunding campaign, so I don't know if we've hit our goal yet tonight or if that will be a tomorrow thing. But please, tomorrow, if you guys can, you got to get around the Facebook algorithm and DM people and tell them that we're doing this thing. And please go help us do the thing because we want to keep writing and doing more artwork and more stories. But thank you guys all for those of you who tuned in and for all your support to get us to this far. We are so close and we got 29 days to go. And if you're in Chicago, I will see probably many of you tomorrow night at a launch party. So, but thank you all for those of you guys have tuned in, and we're gonna bounce out and let you guys go to bed.
Bruce, I expect to see an update on that next time we have a group thing.
I would want to be Tiger Eye.
Ooh, fun.